Hi. So this is going to be one of my hidden gems recommendations. This one, I got this. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. I was in my local comic shop. So my local comic shops. There's two in Manchester. There's Travelling Man and there's Forbidden Planet International. So I get my comics from Forbidden Planet International, and they've had a big revamp. They had a wall with loads of sale books on. So I got two oversized hardcovers of Fantastic Four by Dan Slott, which I'll read and do a review of later. And they also have this one. It just intrigued me. The artwork intrigued me. I didn't look at the cover of the title or anything. It was just the art that just really caught my eye. And then I thought, ooh, read a bit more of it. And I thought, ooh, wow, okay, this definitely is one for me. Very, very LGBTQ based, very trans based as well. So yeah, and it's French, and I love European graphic novels. Love European comic art. There's just something they just seem to elevate the art form compared to like American or British comics, because it's not just they don't just do comics based on action or superheroes or sci-fi or horror. They do a lot of slice of life stuff and historical ones, and this one combines those two with a soupçon, see French soupçon of of romance, and yet even though it's listed as for mature readers, I don't know why they've done that. I think because of it being this pisses me off with a lot of books. If something's LGBTQ, the instant automatically slap for older readers on. Fuck that. It's one of the sweetest books I've read in a long time, and you could give this to anybody, whether they're gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever. Um, it's just really, really sweet. If you like things like Heartstopper, and if you like historical period dramas as well, this would be right up your alley. It's almost like what if they made Heartstopper but set it in the 1920s in Paris and gave it like that art house feel, like those 80s period dramas, French films, where Gerard Depardieu did a few of them and stuff like that, where it's that really nice, we get like the sunshine filters coming through and everything's really nice, like the colours like illuminated. It's like this warmth to the picture as you're watching it. That's what you feel like with this. It's a very, very cozy read. I picked it up and I thought, oh, just read a chapter or two. I couldn't put it down. I finished it within an hour and a half, I think it was, and there's over 200 pages in it. So that's the cover. It's called A Boy Named Rose. So I'll just read the synopsis. So it says, am I a woman? Am I a man? Maybe I'm something you just can't comprehend. Let me help you. Give it a chance. Open your mind and watch me dance. I am Rose. I'm 19 years old, and I'm about to take Paris by storm as one of the flowers. That's Le Jardin, the garden, the cabaret where I was born. So it's in the 20s in Paris at the height of the burlesque theatres. So you had the can-can dancers, the erotic dancers, where it wasn't erotic, it was like, the feather dancers and things like that. And this this boy called Rose, he was raised in that by his mum. So that's his culture, that's his life. And because he's just been immersed in this world of femininity growing up, and from the youngest age he had natural feminine instincts, so he tried on the dresses. He um, basically mirrored what he saw around him, um, and the girls who work at the burlesque bar, they just kind of like took him under their wing and just guided him, protected him, and he worked behind the scenes doing stuff. And as he got older, he realised he had a natural talent for dance, and he looked naturally feminine. He felt more comfortable dressing as a girl than he did as a boy. And so when he got to his teens, he then started working behind the scenes and then doing other bits and bobs, finally becoming one of the girls in the background behind the scenes. And then later on, as he turned 18, 19, he then had a chance to become one of the dancers, which he did. And then he ended up, and basically synopsing like chunks of this, because not loads of characters, he ends up becoming one of the major stars. He ends up being one of the star attractions. And because it's revealed he is actually biologically a boy, he ends up getting attracting for the burlesque bar people from far and wide because they've never seen this. A boy who looks like a girl, who is as beautiful as a girl and dances as well as a girl. But That's just like the gist of his life story encapsulated. It's cut out the rest of the plot, but during this time, he has an admirer, this young guy here, who's basically really, really rich. He's got a life of privilege, and yet his life has no meaning to him. He's had everything given to him on a plate, and he just feels dead. His life's just boo, like that's just like flatlining. And then one night he just turns up at the burlesque bar, having a drink, and Rose catches his eye, and he becomes um, entranced by Rose, but not in. If this, I think, if this is like an American book, it'd be a bit more seedy because this guy's just a few years older than Rose. Because, like I said, Rose is 19, and he becomes entranced by the beauty of Rose, the elegance that they have when they dance, how they act, how they perform, and so he feels this lightness in his spirit. He just feels like he's got something to look forward to now. So he ends up becoming like Rose's admirer, and he basically sits on the same seat every night near the front, and he keeps on making these attempts to visit Rose, and Rose's mum is there going, "You're not coming in," but he manages to earn that just through the realizing that he's actually not a pervert, he's actually not a weird stalker, he's a decent person. And so when Rose starts doing the first few dances, Rose targets the young guy, and this nice natural friendship starts developing. And Rose's mum eventually lets him see Rose after the show, and then the outgoing go on like social dates, etc. And then they eventually go for a weekend away because Rose is just feeling burnt out, and it just carries on like that. And there's just progressions, but then it's not just those. Then you've got the whole circle of the other girls. Their lives are explored a bit. There's a marriage that happens, so one of them leaves and gets married because they're still recovering from the after effects of the First World War. That comes into play as well. But I just want to show you some of the art. It's just so beautiful. There's an elegance to the art that just fits the story perfectly. It's almost Art Deco in style. It's not Art Deco at all, so don't pull me up on that. But if you know what I mean, that's as rude as it gets. He's just dancing, and there's no sex whatsoever in it. I think there might be one kiss, and that's it. And I don't think it's even to do with Rose. But long story short, lots of things happen with all the characters, and as you want, because you want a happy, you want as the reader, you get invested in the life of Rose. You get invested in this young man who, like I said, who's suddenly found purpose, and Rose has ignited this purpose in him, and you want them to get together, and they do, but it takes right until the very last few pages for that to happen. I mean, it's not given a spoiler because you expect it to happen, but what's so sweet about it? Like I said, there's no sex whatsoever in it. It focuses more on them developing this really nice trust between each other. It doesn't even mention them falling in love or loving one another, but that just gets conveyed as the book carries on. You feel them getting much more comfortable with each other's company, and you can see it just shows in the pages, not through dialogue, but just through expression, how smitten the young man is, and how Rose reciprocates as well, like in that bottom panel there. So that's the strength of the art in this. The dialogue's great, but a lot is said within the body language and the faces as well. Honestly, I've, I was just mesmerized. I was mesmerized by it. I was just thrown back in time. And what I like about it, like I said, they've got that main story of these two. That's the story what you get you invested in. Those are your two main protagonists, your two main characters. But then other characters come into their lives as well, and other events happen, and you also are interested in those. You don't feel like you're being pushed into an unnecessary side quest, as it were, but you want to know what happens with these shorter stories as well. And it's also a book about acceptance. And I think for me, as somebody who's transgender, it hits really hard. Especially these past 2 years, there's been so much anti-trans rhetoric in the UK, and even worse in America. Basically, if you're not white, male, and Christian, then your life's worth shit in America. But over here, there's a lot. I mean, people like J.K. Rowling. There's a lot of anti-trans rhetoric, and all we want was just to live, just to be. You know, we don't do anything weird. We don't put antlers on our head and parade about sacrificing children or anything like that. We just want to eat, drink, make friends, go to the cinema, read books. Boring shit. Um, and it just shows that this is the 1920s, but there was much more acceptance back then than there is now. It's like we are now going back. We're getting more inverted than they were in this time period. And so it's a really good commentary on how the world has changed, not for the better in the past few years, but for the worse. Not just for people like me, but for other people. If you, like I said, if you don't fit a certain demographic, then your life's worth shit. And we've become a past few years we've become a generation or a world of intolerance. Intolerance is is fuel. Intolerance is cash. Intolerance is God. I mean, look at Elon Musk with X. How that whole site is a shit show, just focused on giving fake information, um, just spewing hate against everybody and anybody who doesn't fit into their little small white straight demographic. But that's a really big tangent. But that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying this. But there is a point to that. Um, it's it just shows that it's pointless. Intolerance and hate is pointless. It doesn't achieve anything. Acceptance of everybody, no matter of your differences, is what causes happiness. Is what brings about peace, which is what brings about unity. And on top of that, it's a fucking excellent love story without it being cloggy or cheesy. There's, like I said, there's no graphicness to it. There's nothing that would make you feel uneasy. You could, it's just a pure. It's a pure. It's just a. It's just full of pure intentions all the way through, and which is crazy when you think it's about a burlesque bar. But that's honestly that's what it is. It's sweet without being saccharine, and yeah, it comes with my highest recommendation. It's a solid 9 out of 10, and I recommend you picking it up. It's called A Boy Named Rose. It's by Gael Janilia. It's published through Fair Square Comics. It normally is $29.99. I got it for £5, so I'm really happy with that. But I highly recommend it. By Name Rose, and I hope you'll take me up on that. What I will mention, I forgot to mention as well, it does have back matter as well. So it's got some extra character sketches and layouts and the thought processes behind the book. So yeah, really fab read. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.